Alright everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the F123 Driver Career with Haas, episode number 5 today for the Monaco Grand Prix. If you missed the previous episode at Baku, uploaded earlier in the week, a very painful race, then you can of course go and check that one out, featuring some red flags and a pile up in qualifying as well, which leaves us P10 in the championship. 6 points behind our teammate Kevin Magnussen as he came through to finish in a very good P4 for the team, the best result for the team of the season. Now R&D wise, we're going to put a minor weight reduction upgrade. I think we tried to redo this in the first episode but couldn't because of simultaneous upgrade. We're also going to put a major rear downforce upgrade because we've got discount off. I'm hoping that the setup is stable enough that we're able to get the front downforce on as well. Potentially in time for Monaco, we'll have to wait and see about that. But yeah, we've got a thing to be asked if we want to appear in an advert, and we don't really have time for that. Plus it gives us 400 resource points, which was the 400 resource points that I need to purchase this major front downforce upgrade, which doesn't have any discounts. Now, because of all the things that have been failing, I decided in my infinite wisdom to rush this through to ensure that it's actually on for Canada, because I think Canada is where it's going to be there. Yes, Spain obviously has got that new straight. I haven't tried that. I haven't recorded that episode yet, so I don't know what's going to be like. And you know, there is a 45% chance that will go through, but it's probably going to fail. But, ladies and gentlemen, a miracle happened. Yes, that's right. Both those two upgrades have gone on for this weekend. They didn't fail. They're the first two that haven't actually repurchased. Also got that engine power, the general maintenance, which isn't from us, from Ferrari, and the gearbox upgrade, which we had to repurchase for like 77 R&D points. So yeah, as a result of that, you know, there's a little bit of daylight between ourselves and the bottom 5 teams now. I just say that Alpine, McLaren and Williams. I have sort of changed the settings so that they're on default for R&D points, but I don't know what happened in last year's career mode when they end up with 48 million resource points at the end of the career mode. Aston Martin bring an upgrade, which puts them very close to Mercedes. So we'll see what happens with Aston Martin. You know, obviously Alonso was targeting this one to win, and then they bottled it because of the rain in real life. So what can they do then in game? We'll have to wait and see about that. But first of all,
alright, get ready to jump out if you get too hot in there. There's a problem with the cooling system and it's going to take us a few minutes to correct it.
I don't need to say anything about that. I mean, as I say, it'd be nice if it linked to durability R&D, but there we go. As there, VERSTAPPEN has crashed at turn 1, just locked up straight on into the wall. So VERSTAPPEN will be last in this Monaco Grand Prix. Obviously, something to point out, he actually didn't win the one in Baku because of the red flag glitch, which has since been fixed. But obviously, that was recorded before the patch, as it was this one as well. We're at the current first lap P11, so there's room for improvement here, but I managed to find 3/10 in the first sector already. Surprisingly, and I don't understand why, but the middle sector is where I'm able to gain quite a lot on the AI. I should also point out that based off the race strategy R&D program, I'm running 98 AI, which is the highest I've run all season. It's probably the highest run in the career mode for us since about 2019. A little bit too deep there, but obviously track limits are an operation of that curb. And in real life, they need to, needs a bit of a re-profile because it's actually a horrible sausage curb there, and you can't go over. That curb is so much nicer on this game. So we're losing a little bit of time there as we go a little bit deep into Raskas through the final corner then. Out of it, 3/10 gained on my previous best time, drops us to P15, or was 4/10 gained. I think that might have been a purple final sector, and it's enough for P7. So I'll definitely take that. Slightly better than K-Mag. So yeah, well, the only way is up. We've got Ferrari on pole, and Red Bull only 5th and 20th. So happy days. We'll see what we can do. From 7th on the grid, it's time for the race. It's time for today's Monaco Grand Prix.
Formula One returns to Monte Carlo once again today, home to the world-famous Monte Carlo casino, first opened in 1863, and of course a certain road race first held in 1929. There is no greater an occasion, no more valuable a win than the Monaco Grand Prix. We're on the French Riviera once more this weekend at the 2-mile-long Circuit de Monaco. Cars will climb around 40 metres up the hill past the casino and then descend towards the harbour through Sector 2. It's a very short run from pole position to the first of 19 corners, so don't expect to see much overtaking here today. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position. A very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Russell, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Phoenix, Norris, Gasly, Magnussen, Stroll, Oscar Piastri, Hamilton, Albon, Joe, Bottas, Ocon, Tsunoda, De Vries, Sargent, and Max Verstappen completes the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? Anthony Davidson is with us once again in commentary, which is always good news. And tell us about the strategy today. Give us some insights into how the big calls are made.
Well, there's a lot that both the driver and the team have to keep in mind when going into a race. Tyres, fuel, energy recovery systems, the list goes on and on. But I think the key to today's victory will come down to the pit stop strategy. Come in too soon and you might find yourself needing more than one stop. Too late and you're putting yourself at a disadvantage by spending...
Okay, we've got that relief of having points on the board finally, so let's keep that form up and get another top 10 finish today, please.
Nice to see Mark varying his lines on this year's game, but race strategy is an interesting one because a lot of the grid is starting on the hard tyre. Yeah, I think that the undercut, can we make the undercut work? This is an issue. The two-stop, I think, is out the window, really. To be honest, I'm playing around with the two-stop to see if we can make it something work. But you know, it's a 10 seconds down on anything. So, to be honest, I think that even looking at a hard soft strategy, for example, isn't going to work. Obviously, of course, since I recorded this episode, and we've got that issue where Haas have the second to worst tyre over anyone on the grid. But yeah. 9/10 slower, it's the one stop for me personally speaking. I'm still trying to fiddle about with it and just compare the two. Starting on hard is actually 5/10 slower, so that's why I just make the decision, start on the medium tyres and go with it. We might switch to a two-stop, you never know, depending on if there's a safety car or whatever. But for lights then, Monaco Grand Prix, and away we go. As well as a bad start for Perez, the Haas not on his. Alonso is joining me on the mediums, trying to get him, but Alonso parks the bus through turn 1. Now through on the start, look at the traction that Carlos Sainz got, and his teammate was supposed to be on pole position, but Hamilton, forgot to mention, had a penalty, so it's still a Ferrari 1-2. But Sainz is the one that leads and not Leclerc, which will annoy the locals. We're all over the back of Fernando Alonso. He's not the Fernando Alonso we know in real life. Aston is not the Aston we know in real life. There needs to be Aston need a improvement in performance when they do that performance upgrade later on in the patch. But we're all over him. We just can't find a way past just yet on lap number 7. It's the same with Max Verstappen, who's stuck down in P18 behind Esteban Ocon. He's got a championship on the line. This might be closer depending on what happens, although he has won 3 Grand Prix this season. His teammate, obviously by a red flag, managed to win back in last time. As we dive down the inside of Fernando Alonso, and finally up to P5. I've had enough of waiting behind the Spaniard, who clearly these mediums are not working for the Aston Martin. Maybe the Haas would be a little bit better, but dive down the inside. Can't be wasting our time because Perez is doesn't have great pace on his hard tyres. As as well. And you can see that behind us we've got the likes of Gasly, Norris, has Stroll as well. And then there's Magnussen and Hamilton. I'd like Magnussen to move up to that trio, see if you can have a go at them with a bit of DRS potentially. Obviously DRS train, and this is Monaco, of course. It's hard to overtake here. Jumped to lap 14. Did check, got very close to Perez there, but Perez sort of had a little bit more pace in the end of my stint. I think that just the medium tyres eventually went off. 56%. Again, Haas on that little, if you've seen that tweet with all the tyre performance index, which is why that PGSL league is suspended for the time being because of the unequal performances in tyre life on equal cars, with Haas and Ferrari having the worst as well. But we've come out in P11, right behind now Lewis Hamilton. You can see the advantage. Our fresh tyres on his wall mediums down the inside at the Nouvelle chicane, and that's how you make the overtake there. Around the outside, give him, to be fair, he took a little bit of a curb, but we gave him space on the inside there. And obviously, by taking the curb, it's obviously going to unsettle his momentum, especially the fact it is a sausage curve in real life. I think it's a bit bigger in real life than what it is in the game, personally. Came back nicely, gives his DRS before pitting. I'm hoping, as I said, he needs to move up to Stroll, but there's a 4.5 second gap to Stroll. There's Alonso, so the undercut, has worked out a treat. The undercut isn't working well for Charles Leclerc. Already lost out to his teammate. Round the outside of Norris he goes, but there is George Russell. So it's a Sainz and Russell now. And there's Perez out of the pits on mediums, but it doesn't matter. He's way behind Alonso even. We're having a look round the outside. Leclerc, his day's gone from bad to worse. Round the outside of the final corner, and we're up onto the podium, ladies and gentlemen. It was the alternate Raskas dive to brake late, round the outside. Leclerc gave us a space, and then through the final corner, Anthony Nogues, and we're up onto the podium. Could we get at the podium that Magnussen failed to get at Baku? We'll have to wait and see. Verstappen, though, he has managed to jump a few people in the pit stop, including there Oscar Piastri. He's stuck, though, behind Alex Albon in the Williams there. So, he's not going to be all the way down in P15. Lap 28, a little bit deep there into Raskas. And then, trying to fend from Leclerc through Anthony Nogues. We've got a little bit DRS to play with. Monaco's a bit kind on that. So being the fact there's not many fastest, but up the hill, look at the traction that Leclerc gets, and we give him the space there. Being a Ferrari junior driver, Leclerc goes through and he is up. But this is an unusual place to make a move, going side by side up the hill. But we gave him the space. Perhaps we should have defended the inside, but Leclerc already had his nose in there. A bit mistake there, but there we go. And he almost hit the wall on the exit casino there. But we actually caught Leclerc at the end. He actually gapped us to 2 seconds, and then we took a second out of him and moved away from Alonso and Perez. But there we go. P4. It's not the podium, sadly, but it is, ladies and gentlemen, 4th place, our best result of the season at possibly what on F122 was my worst track, as my game stutters a little bit as we cross the line. Apologies about that. Yes, P4, that is a good result. It's 12 crucial points. It's not quite the podium, but it's showing Ferrari what we can do. Magnussen struggled. He only finished in P9. We lost to Stroll out in the start. Verstappen did set fastest lap during the fact he undercut Piastri and Ocon and Tsunoda, but sadly didn't do any further than that. For us, we remain in P7 in the driver standings. Move up to P7, excuse me. Magnussen drops to P9. So it's a good result all round. At Haas, you know, for us was remaining P4. P4 will be a good target for us. You know, got to get K-Mag. You know, he had a good result in Baku. He can't be going back. He went a little bit backwards today, I feel, in P10. Perhaps he could do a little bit better next time out in Spain. But we'll have to wait and see about that. Rivalry, we now lead Norris 10-9 and moved up to driver late claim level number 5. So, yes, that's where I'm going to leave it for today's episode. If you have enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, see plenty more F123 driver camera videos and other F123 gameplay videos as when they come out. The next episode in Spain will be out next week, as hopefully will Canada as well. Those two we'll have to wait and see. Fast tracks, we'll have to wait and see if we get similar issues to Baku or not. I've done some laps of Spain and Canada already, haven't really felt the same issues, but then I didn't feel the issues in Baku until we actually got the race, so got into got into practice there. So yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it today. Until the next video then, I'll see you next time. Take care, thanks so much for watching, enjoy your day, and goodbye.